Hey, this is Tony with Salt Strong, and in this video I wanted to talk about high-speed reels versus low-speed reels, and more specifically with spinning reels when you're fishing inshore. Now, I do have a preference as to which one I like to use depending on the situation. What type of presentation am I going with my lures? Also, if I'm fishing around structure or if I need to pick up line quicker, that is definitely going to be factored in when I'm choosing a high-speed reel versus a low-speed reel. So let's go ahead and talk about that. Now, 99% of the time, I'm gonna go with a high-speed reel just because it's a lot more versatile for what you can do with it as opposed to a low-speed reel. A low-speed reel is gonna be more technique specific, in my opinion, and I'm gonna talk about that here in a second. But when I say high-speed reel, it really comes down to the gear ratio. How much line is picked up as you turn the handle, one full rotation, and what the gear ratio means. Like this reel here, this is a Shimano Stratic FL 3000. This has a gear ratio of 6.4 to 1. So what that means is for every one full crank of the handle, the line wraps around the spool 6.4 times. So that comes out to about, I believe, 37 or 38 inches of line is picked up every time you crank the handle once. So you really have to take that into consideration when you are retrieving lures, because you might be going too fast when you're retrieving your lures. Every time you crank the handle, that's going to move that lure away from the fish, 3 to 4 feet, depending on how many times you crank the handle. So you can always slow it down. You just have to be aware of that. Instead of cranking the handle one full rotation as you're retrieving the lure, you may just want to crank it, a half a rotation or a quarter. That way you're keeping your lure in the strike zone longer. And the main reason why I like to go with high-speed reels is because of that fast line pickup for a few situations. Let's say you may hook into a fish close to structure and you want to be able to pick up line very quickly when you hook into that fish. Also with hook sets, a lot of times you may have a fish strike your lure, then that fish will come darting straight at you as soon as it hits. You need to be able to pick up line very quickly to get a good hook set. If you're using a low speed reel, you have a fish strike, starts darting towards you, you're trying to crank like crazy to pick up that line to get tension on that fish and get a good hook set. So that's another good reason why I like to go with a high-speed spinning reel instead of a low speed. Now, another situation where a high-speed reel is going to definitely help you out is, let's say you make a cast, you're retrieving your lure, next thing you know, you see a fish coming right by you. You want to be able to pick up that line, bring that lure in very quickly so you can get a cast on that fish before it goes away or it gets spooked. So that's another good reason why I like to go with a high-speed reel. Now, as far as a low-speed reel, that would be very useful if you want to go with a slower presentation. It almost forces you to do a slower presentation because you really can't go too fast with a reel with a low gear ratio. So again, that will force you to slow down. If you find yourself not getting many strikes or you're missing a lot of strikes, it's probably because you're going too fast with that high-speed reel. Now, you can slow down a high-speed reel, but you just have to be aware of that. You have to not crank the handle as much or as quickly than you would with a low-speed reel. So again, if you're having trouble catching fish, I would try switching over to a low-speed reel that will force you to slow down your presentation. So hopefully these tips can help you out if you are trying to decide what gear ratio to go with your spinning reels when fishing inshore. Also, be sure to check out our shop page where if you are an insider member, you do get a 20% discount on all types of reels, rods, lures, tackle, and whatnot. So definitely be sure to check that out. Also, if you need help catching more fish in less time, and we guarantee that, definitely be sure to check out that Salt Strong Insider Club as well. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments or perhaps some additional tips you would like to share when it comes to gear ratio and spinning reels when fishing inshore, definitely let us know down below. Till next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.